It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for The Last of Us on HBO. On this video, we're going to be taking a look at the possibility of a Season 2 for The Last of Us, everything we know about how much Season 1 is going to cover, and also we're going to talk about some speculations that there might not be a Season 2 in the way that we think, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. So, as far as what Season 1 is gonna include, we do know based on everything that Neil Druckmann and Greg Mazin have said, Season 1 will tell us the entirety of the story from The Last of Us Part 1, or the first game. And obviously, based on everything that we've covered on the channel, we know that they're not just gonna give us the story for part 1 of the game, they're gonna expand stories from part 1 of the game, and they're gonna bring in additional exclusive stories that were not told in the video game. So that means that even though Season 1 is just gonna include the stuff from the first game, it's not going to be only that, because they're going to expand the story. Now, the other thing that we do know, and this is something I recently heard about and I was really shocked, and that is that Season 1 is going to have only like 6 episodes, which is crazy to me, because if we think about the amount of story there is to tell for part 1 alone, it will be super difficult for them to pull it off. And on top of that, they will bring more stories that they didn't give us in part 1 of the video game, which could be one of two things. Either it's going to be a super fast-paced and awesome season, or it's going to be rushed and they're going to give us only a little of everything, and they're going to scratch the surface of everything. I hope that it's not the second case. I hope that they do it right and it's just a fast-paced, super awesome representation of what the first game was and why audiences fell in love with it in the first place. On top of that, the icing on the cake is they're going to add more stories that would be giving us more depth into the characters and into some of the stories that they didn't dive into in the game. But with that said, the question still remains, how much story is there to tell in Season 2? Will there be a Season 2? What are they going to give us in the second season? Well, at this point, a Season 2 has not been confirmed, it has not been greenlit, and we don't know exactly when they're going to start filming, if there's going to be a second season. What we do know based on what the actors have talked about is that Season 1 is short. I think it was Pedro Pascal that said it was too short. And I take that as two ways. Either he means that it's too short because we don't get the second part of the game, or it's too short meaning that it's going to be rushed. I hope it's not the second. I take what he said as a hint that we are in fact going to get a Season 2. I feel like he might have said that to hype fans up for more and more after the first season. But assuming there will be a Season 2, I feel like it won't be a Season 2 like you expect. I mean, if we think about the story from part 2 of the game, there's obviously more than enough to fill the entire season with. But I feel like they might go a direction where they're gonna mix and match things. And what I mean by that is they're gonna give us some things from part 2, but they're gonna give us additional stuff on top of that, just like they did for the first game. And I feel like they're gonna build things up to a point where the third season, if there is any, is not necessarily gonna line up with where the video game ends up. You know what I mean? I feel like after this first season and maybe the main storyline from part 2 of the game, the stories are going to go their separate ways as far as what the TV show is going to be doing versus what the video game did. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling they're gonna go that direction. The reason for that is they want fans to appreciate the story that we already have, but also experience the rest of the story in the game differently than in the TV show. I could be wrong, but that's just the vibe I get based on the interviews they've done, based on everything they've said about how the show is going to feel different than the game, and how it's not just going to be a shot by shot adaptation, and how they're going to do their own thing when it makes sense and stuff like that. But I'm definitely interested to know your thoughts and opinions about this. Do you think there will be a season 2 or not? And if there is, do you think that it's going to give us just part 2 of the game, or do you think they're going to mix and match things just like they will be doing for season 1? And also, do you think after they give us the second season, the story is going to part ways from the story that they might be giving us in the Last of Us franchise in the video game? So share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.